good though. Mix it up. Jericho, Vermont.
Hey, Lex, feel.
What?
You good?
Good. Yeah.
Yeah? I don't know where the orange mark is, but it's somewhere.
This is fun. We're having fun.
We are mid mud run.
Mid slop.
Mid slop.
Bomb, bomb, bomb.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's still Blair Witchy though.
Yeah. Super moosey.
Super moosey.
We made it to Shrek.
Awesome.
We're up top. We made it.
Shrek's cabin.
Shrek's cabin. You know, they say in Vermont, you come for the trails, you stay for the moose. Oh, you know, just to hang out in here. Look at this. What race can you go to that has a cabin on top? All right.
Go watch my gloves.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
Halfway.
Halfway.
I don't know. I've never.
Welcome back, guys. It is episode 48. This is the TRE live show. We want to welcome you guys to another wonderful Thursday afternoon. If you can tell, I'm a little stuffed up.
You got a little boomy and bassy quality to your voice.
A little different timbre today.
Yeah.
Just to keep it real, I may have had a little bit too much fun in Florida last Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and came back with,
yeah,
you know.
Some of us were here working, filming, doing the whole thing, and others were having fun in Florida.
That is correct. That's exactly how that went.
Oh, man,
but very cool weekend as well for TRE. Nate got to spend some time with Dathan Ritzenhein.
Yeah.
I never say it right.
I know.
Dathan is Ritz is one of my personal running heroes, and I was sad that I didn't get to see him because I followed him. He is 1 year under me in high school, and I followed him since then. So he's really
and guys, like,
crazy.
He is not. He kind of flies below the radar. He's probably one of the best American runners you may never have heard of. In all honesty, a lot of people haven't heard his name.
What's his 5K PR?
So we all love like Steve Prefontaine, and Steve Prefontaine really cut his teeth on the 5K. That is what he owned. He was fourth in the Olympic Games, one of the best runners in the world, and the 5,000 meter was his distance. Dathan is faster than Steve Prefontaine at the 5K.
Which is insane!
His PR is 12:56, which is an average of a 4:08 minute mile. That is running 62, is that right? 62-second quarters. Try to run one of those.
Yeah.
It is tough, and that dude is just incredible. So anyway, and super humbling, like just like very relaxed. We shot 4 videos together.
Yeah.
So really excited to have those come out as part of our project.
Show you guys who this guy is.
Yeah, super fun. And he also has he's a 2:07 marathoner, so he's one of the fastest Americans we've ever had. He has a 60-minute flat half marathon PR. Just an incredible guy, and just very unassuming, very knowledgeable. And you know, we got some great videos in to share his experience.
Boy, Wikipedia is really not the place to go if you want fun photos.
I know, there's not the best ones. There are some videos we saw of like him passing out, and what's interesting is you guys may know of Ryan Hall, or you may know of Alan Webb. Like this guy Dathan used to beat both of those dudes like in high school and college all the time. Oh wait, we can't hear you. They can't hear us at all, or the volume is low. Need better sound. Turning the mic up. Let's see. Where's our sound at? Yeah, it's a little low. Let's crank that sucker.
Is it low?
It's why is it the green is low?
Oh, it is lower.
Oh, hello.
Hold on.
Let's see if this is better. There we go.
How about now?
Yeah, that's better. We'll turn that down to the yellow. Hey guys,
How long has it been since we
are
changed
back.
the battery on that sucker?
We might need to change it soon. You know, I've noticed with a little travel every once in a while, it just needs to be, you know, like kind of tapped. It's better. Welcome again.
Yeah, oh
you
my
guys
God.
may have heard
have you not been hearing us?
our
Okay.
whole thing for this time.
Well, we're talking about
Always
Dathan
something fun.
Ritzenhein.
We have been talking about Dathan Ritzenhein, who I had the pleasure of hanging out with and getting to know and filming last Saturday. He's one of the best distance runners you may have never heard of. And he is just a really good dude. We filmed a bunch of content together, and we're going to share that with you.
Yeah, so we don't have any content to show him yet, do we? But it's coming up on our channel anytime now.
Yeah, so let's see who's here in the mix. We've got one Seamus, like this is a good conversation. Once a us. David, what up? Demian says hello. John's conscious life says yo. Very conscious thing to say. Catherine says nice topic. Tone, hi from Hampton, VA.
Tone, what is up? Good to
85
see you.
degrees. That is warm.
It is not as warm here.
Lloyd, ran too much last week, but the chiropractor saved me from myself. Let's see here. Carrie says, hey, TRE and Co. What is up? Mr. Jackamak can't hear you. Well, hopefully you can hear us now. Catherine, what's up? Shayna says hello. Andy says, hope the wedding was good. FOD runner. Karen, it's quiet, guys. We've got that all fixed. Let me see here. Rich says, is he faster than Galen Rupp?
Yes.
You know, he is faster in certain distances.
Yes.
I think he's still figuring out the marathon, and he's made 3 Olympic teams. Crazy. 2004, 2008, and 2012. He missed the 2016 marathon by 1 spot.
Oof.
Yeah, by 1 spot.
He was going for the marathon for that one?
He's going for the marathon, and now he's trying to make the 2020 team.
Is he really?
Yep.
He's not stopping?
35 years old. He's been like training at this level since he was like 15.
Tell him about his mileage, because that was always the impressive thing when he was in high school. He was running like 80, 90 miles a week.
Yeah, super amazing.
And to me at that point in time, I was running like 40, 45 miles a week, and I thought it was a lot.
So we want to talk about, definitely want to talk more about him, but let's set up the show. Let's set up everything before we get super far. The theme today is how much running is too much.
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing with this personally myself. We work with athletes all the time. You've got some great experiences of just being a high level runner in college and you know, experiencing the different levels, which we can get into. This kind of fits in with our conversation with Dathan, who's a very high mileage runner himself. So we want your guys' questions. We want to know, like, how much do you guys run weekly? Do you think about time? Do you think about mileage? If you run less than a certain mileage per week, does it bum you out? Like, drop those down in the comments. Like, let's get it out there off our chest, right? Because we all have those things that bum us out when we don't get there. Some of you guys have mileage goals for the year. How many of you are running the year 2018? Because people do that.
That's
a thing.
True.
That's totally a thing.
How many miles is that per?
It might be around 40.
Okay.
Something like
40
that.
40 a week?
I think so.
40
consistently.
Times 50. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, it's up there.
That's a lot of mileage.
Totally. And we also have a great giveaway this week, guys. We are raffling off some very appropriate things here. One is a pair of shoe cues, and these are a really cool insert. You put in their shoe, you cut it to fit the size, and it's got in this heel pad this small little like plastic plate with these little bumps, and it's not meant to like punish you or hurt you, but it just gives you a little more tactile feedback of where your foot is landing on the ground.
It's supposed to, I wouldn't say mimic, but it's supposed to give you similar type of proprioceptive feedback, so you kind of get like this feedback into your system of, hey, if I was not wearing shoes, you know, I would get a jolt in my heel. And we're not necessarily proponents of you should be running on your toes, you should be running on, but this is kind of if you are landing really hard, like ahead of you on your heel, this will remind you. And I don't think it's meant to be a permanent thing.
Yeah,
right?
And not at all. Like, this is just a cool training tool, and we're big proponents of awareness. So because if we're not aware of something, we can't make any changes.
Right.
And this is a cool tool for that. So we're gonna give away 2 pairs of these, and in combination, some yoga tune-up balls, which are these like soft, grippy lacrosse balls. Like, we love the lacrosse balls, but sometimes they're too harsh.
Yep.
Like especially around your back and your spine. I know all you dudes out there, you guys are too skinny.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
Where's our Theragun? Here it is.
How does this remind you of the Theragun?
Because it's essentially a yoga tune-up ball.
Oh yeah, that's fair. It's got a little yoga tune-up ball in the end. So anyway, we're gonna give away a pair of this to 2 of you guys next week. All you need to do to enter is hit that Gleam link. It's in the description where you'll be able to go put your stuff in, and 2 of you guys will win. How about that?
So this is a Theragun. If you've not seen one of these, a lot of you have not seen one of these. This has been at the last couple Boston marathons. It was at New York. These guys have essentially taken a power tool, which I believe this is like the driver for a jigsaw. This thing pumps it out. I'm going to turn it on in a second, but you're not going to be able to hear anything when I turn it on because it's so loud. And it goes back and forth on your muscle. Can I see this?
Yeah.
It goes back and forth on your muscles like this.
In a percussion type way.
It makes some music. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Where should I?
Hit me.
Okay.
Hit me with your best shot.
Wait,
why don't you turn it on? Why don't you turn it on first before you go in?
Okay.
Actually, hit me in my back and shoulders.
Yeah, that's maybe a little bit.
There we go.
They
We'll go
can't
here.
see it at the back though. You have to turn.
I'll turn this way.
Okay.
So I get a little stiff in the back in the trap.
Okay, here you go. You ready? Am I doing this right?
What?
I can't hear anything.
What?
Just go harder. Oh, wow, yeah.
So anyway,
Anyhow, that's a Theragun.
and we're going to be doing a review of this, and consider this Craig's first of what will be many sidesteps and distractions for today's talk.
Yes. But interesting, don't you think?
Always interesting to play those toys. We have a few of you guys chiming in from Facebook. We have off of our Facebook page, Jabril says, great tool. He also says, I want them, Nate, from the other things. Joanna says, hey guys, love your videos, thanks.
Awesome.
Dave says, peace, what's up? I'm going to be kind of flowing back and forth. Main conversation, of course, is on our YouTube page. So we asked that question. We're getting a bunch of you guys chiming in already. Let's see here. Johnny comments, running every day is too much. Is it? That's the thing. Can you run every day or a lot, and can you do it all right? Let's see here. Force Demon Runner says, I run 45 to 50 miles a week. As a rule, if I hit 60, I can't do that more than 2 weeks solid or I burn out. John's Conscious Life, I'm running every day in 2018. John, that's really interesting. I want to know like what the minimum run is,
right,
versus the maximum.
And what do you do if you start to feel some soreness somewhere, or like a little thing nagging you has to not happen?
Yeah, we'll come to close to 2018 miles. Katie says, this is my first year of consistent running. My goal is 500 miles for the year.
Wow.
I love that. I think that's cool. Jeffrey says, running New York City Marathon and Brooklyn Half in a few weeks.
Ooh, the Brooklyn Half. I haven't done that one yet.
Yeah, so New York City is obviously in the fall, and then the half is, I guess, coming up. Lee says, lowest base, 55 to 60 miles a week. Less and I get lethargic and irritable.
Right.
Lee does have some energy, and that needs to go somewhere. So I'm glad, Lee, that we don't see you too often below the 55 to 60. Peak weeks are 80 to 90 is the sweet spot. We're all unique. My body prefers volume to speed work. Amazing. Joe says, Lydiard seems to find somewhere between 100 to 120 miles a week is optimal. Is that true for most people? From the competitive elite side, it does seem to be that way. When we talk to Dathan, he's been running 100+ mile weeks since high school.
Yeah.
But there is a cost to that.
So this is a really interesting thing, because if you look at competitive runners, I mean, and when we say competitive, you mean people that are extremely competitive. People like Mario, who we had on, who is not technically a professional runner, but is very elite. And then all the way to Dathan and that level of runner. And what you see is that higher mileage does correlate to better performance. I mean, they're not like the rest of us. And when I was doing more competitive running when I was in college, we did get up into the 90, 100-mile range. The problem with this that you can see from a larger scope, which is that if you were to take just grab any number of runners just at random and say, hey, we have a swath of runners, some are competitive, some are just everyday runners, and say, hey, we're going to build you up to 100 miles a week because you're going to perform your best at 100 miles a week. Not everybody is going to be able to handle that. Just physiologically, not all of us are adapted to be able to do high mileage. And, you know, we can try to we can do a lot of things to kind of help that out. So some of you guys, you know, some people do 100 miles a week. They don't do anything, and they're totally fine. Some of us, like myself and you, we gotta put a lot of work in.
Well, the question too is, what's the nature of that 100 miles? How's it broken up?
Right.
Are you doing long sessions each day, or is it 2 shorter sessions spaced out? What's the intensity of the running? Is it super slow? I think what's interesting that I've been reading more, I've been just more fascinated with the elite marathon training coming out of East Africa, and how, because there's money in the marathon sport, younger runners are going into the marathon earlier.
Right.
And so one of the guys who is part of the Breaking 2 project, and I actually just watched this last weekend. If you haven't, have you seen?
I haven't seen it
the
yet.
Breaking 2? It's fantastic. So the main runner, this guy Kipchoge, is 34, mature, been around for a long time, has only been running marathons in the last 5 years. And if you're keeping track, he has won, I think, 10 of the 11 marathons he's entered, all majors. And I think the first one he got second. Like just a total stud. Insane. But older, and a lot of times the saying with older athletes, with elite runners, is like, you don't go to the marathon till later in your career.
Right.
You do the track stuff first. Well, you still have speed when you're younger, and then you sort of like, they kind of like, it's like before they retire you at the pasture, they kind of move you to the marathon. But now what's happening is that they're seeing elite runners at the age of 20, 21, 22 go right into the marathon. And one of the other Breaking 2 runners, a guy named is it Lila DeCisa?
Okay.
Something like that. He's won Boston Marathon twice. His first marathon, he won Boston when he was like 23.
Wow, what year was that?
That was in 2013.
Okay.
The year of the bombings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then he came back in 2015 and he won again.
Okay.
Really, really young. So it's just an interesting thing to sort of see, like, at the elite level, where the money is and what people are doing.
And it'll be very interesting to see where he goes with his career. Like, how long lasting is he going to be? Because marathon training and marathon racing is extremely punishing.
It really is.
And especially at that level, you know, I know a lot of our runners will do, you know, 2 marathons a month, and they'll do a whole year like that. But year over year, with the type of mileage that these guys are accumulating and the intensity of the mileage, is really
now this is what's interesting about a guy like Dathan, who has been competing at a high level. He's 35 and he's still competing. Like the person that he looks up to, like a lot of us, is Meb. Like Meb ran competitively until he's 42 from college, which is kind of insane if you think about it. And he basically said, like, Meb was such a drill sergeant about self-care, and when he would come after his run, like Dathan said, like, if you finished a workout with Meb, you couldn't talk to him for the next 25 minutes because he would immediately go into his like post-run, his drills, his fueling, like his like post-workout routine. And he was just so strong there. And we had some kind of fun stories with Dathan. Like Dathan, he was like the college kid who just kind of ate whatever. And so it's like he used to crush cereal. Like his favorite cereal was like peanut butter Cocoa Puffs.
Wow.
Like that's what he would eat. Like elite runner, he won like the collegiate cross country championships. He out sprinted Ryan Hall on peanut butter Cocoa Puffs. Isn't that funny?
That's amazing.
Right? Yeah. But like later on in life, he's had to get better about all this self-care. And now, of his generation, he's like one of the few runners left. Like Ryan Hall's retired. Alan Webb is not really running anymore, but he's still out there. And what he credits his ability to sustain all this is a lot of now supplementary strength and mobility work. Yeah, I mean, the mileage, one thing that I've learned as I'm getting older is that for the same type of workouts, you know, I can still sustain a lot of hard workouts, but it just requires
more care on the back end. And if I slack off and I'm like, oh, I don't need to do my mobility tonight, I won't do it. Then, 3 days later, I'm starting to feel things out of whack. Get a little soreness here. It turns into something, oh, gotta take another day off. Yeah. That sort of thing. And I think that it's extremely empowering, I think, to actually realize, hey, there are some handles here that I can hold on to and start to control. And, our whole thing here is about giving you those tools and then having you do them as part of your training as opposed to just repair.
So one of the things that I've been playing with personally, and I want to get into your guys' comments because there's a whole great conversation happening over here, and to address some of your questions, is running frequency. I'm trying to get my mileage up a little bit more in a sustainable way. And over the last couple of years, just like with work and life and everything else, I've sort of defaulted to like 3 to 4 running days a week. Yep. And like 1 to 2 strength days. Sometimes I go out my mountain bikes, and another day I just like chill. Yep. And what I'm playing with right now, I'm only in week 2, guys, is running 6 days a week. Interesting. But the running that I'm doing on those 2 additional days, right now, they're like 15-minute sessions. Right. And I'm blending it with strength work. So rather than just do strength work, what I'm doing is like this morning or Tuesday morning, I did 5 rounds of 8 deadlifts and 90-second intervals on the treadmill. Okay. And then did a 3-minute warm up, and then did some 60-second ones. So it all added up to about 15 minutes, and I'm just trying to get that frequency of running without necessarily the mileage. But now I've just added like probably 4 miles a week to my running. Okay. And there's a difference. Like I remember this with swimming. Yeah. As a triathlete, when I swam, if I only swam once a week, I never really got a good feel for the water. Right. But when I started swimming like 5 or 6 days a week, there's this intangible fluidity that you get. Yeah. And I'm noticing that with my running, because I haven't run 5 or 6 days a week in a long time. Gotcha. And it feels kind of good. Yeah. But I'm trying to do that a little bit more, so I'll tell you guys how it goes. But right now, it's feeling pretty good.
I always grew up, for the majority of my running career, up until I started doing more strength work with you, and that was because of an injury, it was 7 days a week. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. The days off were just easy mileage in the morning and nothing else.
Yeah, and when I talked to Mario about this yesterday, we were going for a run, he kind of says the same thing. Like a lot of times, like his easy run will just be 30 minutes. Yep. Like dog shit slow kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. Where like that guy's running, minutes per mile slower than what he normally does. And it's just moving the body just a little bit.
And I've always found, like when I was in that space, I was always managing the pain and the soreness and injury, but I didn't do it actively. I was always just kind of like, take a day, it's hard to get up off the couch, everything would be a little bit creaky and painful, and as I've gotten older, that intensifies a little bit, but I was never like constantly working stuff. I purposely did not set fitness goals this year. Okay. And I said, okay, my fitness is just going to be in maintenance mode. And it is getting to be almost halfway through the year.
I know, isn't it crazy, guys? It's already May. Tomorrow, May the 4th be with you. Yeah. I won't say anything else. Some of you guys will understand
that. All right, good. All right, I'm glad we got that out of your system. That's good.
That was my distraction.
Yeah, and so I decided that I'm gonna not focus on strength. Outside of stuff for running, sure. Which means I'm gonna basically take out a lot of the free weight
specific
stuff.
Strength goals. I want to get my squat up to a certain weight,
or even just do it going in. When I'm gonna go into the gym, I'm gonna start focusing a lot more on mobility because as I have been in this kind of game for a while. It first was only running, then it was strength and mobility to fix the running, and then it was mobility basically just to kind of combat the other two. Right. And I feel like my flexibility and mobility has definitely improved, but it's always kind of at this battle, and I think I've never gotten to where you are with your mobility. So I have my shoulders turned in a little bit, I would like to fix that. My hips aren't as flexible as I want them to be. They're fine for running and they're fine for squatting and stuff like that, but I would like to get, not gymnastics type of flexibility, but start to go towards the more yoga type fitness, because I would like to just kind of go, and I think that if I do that, I'll slim down a little bit and it'll make my running a little bit easier. Because I've been totally fine with putting on weight because it's I'm putting on muscle weight. Yeah. And I realized maybe I'll try something else. I've been doing that for about 5-6 years. try something else. And so I just like when I was on vacation, I was forced to work out without like a gym and running stuff, and I was just kind of like,
it's kind of
you
nice.
know, like I think I like this. I think I'm gonna go back to doing a little bit more calisthenics. I'll still jump in and do like free weights every so often, but it's just a mental focus.
Yeah.
And so we'll see how it goes.
I'm of the same mind. I'm you know, like still a lover of the barbell, but stepping away from it a little bit because I went deep down that rabbit hole over the last 5 or 6 years, and now it's fun to, you know, really just get more of the running stuff and get back into just the supportive running stuff. And I'm enjoying that. I think both of us are here, guys, because we like to tinker and explore.
Right.
And that's what makes this whole thing super fun. So let's get into some of your guys' questions and comments.
I ran 5 kilometers daily for 2 weeks and now I'm unable to walk. This is called life.
This is called life.
Yeah. That might do it if you haven't run before.
Yeah, that's a big jump. You know, how do we, for you beginner runners out there, how do you ease in? And you might be better off, you know, alternating days between a run and more of a cross-training day if it's on a bike or a rower or some strength. One of our favorite ways, guys, to get a little running in, especially if you're outside, is to break it up with some other movements.
Right.
Like you could, you know, do 5 rounds of running, you know, a quarter to a half mile, 400, 800 meters, and then hit 10 air squats and 10 push-ups. And that breaks up the running. You are getting into a little strength. Your body's a little bit more awake and aware when you run, and it just kind of connects it better. So it doesn't always have to be this grind that grinds you down to the ground. Rich says, what about twice-a-day runs? You know, the twice-a-day run is a good strategy for sustainably upping your mileage when you've probably gotten to the point of running 5 to 6 days a week and you're ready to take it up a notch, rather than just say like because if you're running, you're almost running like 15 to 20 miles a day if you're running at 100 miles a week, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure if people are really going on the edge. When we were at that mileage, we would have like a 3 to 4 mile run in the morning, every morning.
Yep.
And that wasn't even really counted as
the workout. It was just a small
It was just kind of like, do your morning miles. And what does that add up to? That's like a 20 mile, you know, like you have 20 miles right there. And then in the evening we'd have...
You got your sessions.
Yeah, and like our sessions on our off days, meaning our days where we weren't doing a track workout, and our track workouts would be like a 3 mile warm up and a 3 mile warm down. That would be do 1 lap around the campus.
And then you would do like 3 miles of work in the middle probably.
Yeah, at least. Right?
Yeah, so that's a 9 mile run.
Yeah,
and then in addition to the 3 to 4 miles you did that morning, you've already put in 13 miles that day.
Yeah, and then when we would do our days, like our easy days would be like an hour to hour and 15 minutes in the afternoon, which would be at our pace at that point would be like 9 to 11 miles. You know, we'd clock around like 6:30s, and that was like that was kind of like our off day. And then our tempo runs were, you know, this is when I was a lot faster. So
totally.
Yeah.
Guys, I just want to take a moment and recognize that we've got 80 plus people in the crew today.
Welcome, guys.
Super excited to have
Very
you guys.
cool.
If you are, you know, like long-time watcher but never like called or commented in before, like don't be shy. Like drop any comments or questions. Like we're here to connect with you. Anyone who's watching for the first time, we would love to see that as well. As we go through this thing, let's take a quick moment and just remember our giveaway that we're going to be giving away
link below.
next week. Click that link below. You can get a pair of really cool shoe cues. We talked about it a little bit before, and a yoga tune-up ball to get in there.
And we'll send it. You know, there might be other goodies in there. You never know.
I will be personally packing and shipping this stuff to you. That's what.
We like to throw some stuff in every so often.
I love it. So on to some comments. So Catherine says, I'm currently training for my marathon May 27th, and since my long run is high, I'm losing energy to run every day like before.
Yep.
You know, that's a challenge. It's okay on the beginner running side of thing when like the long run takes like almost 50% or more of your mileage for the week.
Yep.
To a certain degree, that's going to combat it. I would say that from a fatigue standpoint, we need to manage that with the other areas of life. You know, making sure that you're kind of upping your sleep around this higher part of training. You're being really good with your hydration, nutrition, you know, before, during, and after the runs, because that can crater you. If we're a little knuckleheaded around those pieces, that's just going to make the rest of your weekly workouts bad. The other thing I would say is that sometimes some runs can help get you back. You know what I mean? Like a little bit of moving afterwards feels good. And if that is too hard, like do a strength session, do a yoga session, do a little cross training, like that will help balance the two, for sure.
Totally.
William says, greetings from Chicago. Love your vids. Check out my channel.
Oh,
well, hey William, maybe we will check out your channel. My friend.
What is your channel called? Put a link in there. Can you put links in here?
I think so.
Okay, I
should be able to.
Yeah.
Joy says, I jumped from 0 miles in December to over 80 in March. Training for half marathon. It was too much, too quick for me. Is that 80 miles total for the month of March, Joy, or 80 miles per week? I'm thinking that's 80 miles total for March. Yeah, that's a big jump.
Yeah. I hope it's not 80 from
Catherine
0 to
says,
80
I sleep a lot and get tired easier. Maybe I have difficulty to recover from my long run 22. That's far. And you know,
long runs that are 22 miles, I mean, even for professional athletes, when you do a 20-mile day, like it's gonna bang you up a little bit and you're gonna have to take it easy on the recovery. There are so many things that are like in the modern sphere of helping you recover these days. Whether it is nutritional, so from a hydration, nutrition standpoint, there are products and just like good nutrition, just attention toward it. There is self-massage tools. I don't know if the Theragun is really what you want to use on a post that, but like, you know, we have these Normatec boots that we really like.
Yeah.
But massage can help out in terms of like flushing out your system.
Yeah.
There are, you know, now that there's even like recovery shoes, like people use their Hoka shoes sometimes as like recovery shoes to kind of flush things out. There's so many things that people could do.
There are, and yet the biggest factors are the simplest ones.
Right.
What we put in our mouths.
Yep.
And how much time we spend horizontal.
Oh yeah.
You know,
sleep. I don't know how I list that one. Yeah.
Guys, there's this great story of Frank Shorter, who is the last American to win a gold medal.
Right.
In 1972. He was the man. And he tells this anecdote of like training at a super high level through the 70s, one of our best runners, and just like everyone, like they kind of get into this area where they feel like they're plateauing.
Yep.
And when you've been a elite runner for a long time, like you're not getting the big 10, 20% gains anymore. You're going for like 0.5%, 1% stuff.
Yep.
He was stuck. He changed his shoes, he changed his training intervals, he changed his training mileage, he trained his food. Like he tried to play with all these variables and he was still stuck. And it wasn't until he looked at his sleep. He went from sleeping on average 8 hours a night to up to 10.
Wow.
That all of a sudden, he started to see his performance go up.
Interesting.
Now, that is not to say that we should all sleep 10 hours a night because that's probably not realistic for us. But I think what's interesting is the change relative to what he did to what he did afterwards can be a huge change in performance. So for you guys who are in the middle of your half or full marathon, you're going after those higher mileage, like how can you go to bed 15 minutes earlier than you did the night before?
Interesting.
Can you do that for a week? Right?
Like
and all of a sudden, I'm just like chipping away, like just a little bit more. And then the next week, could it be 20 minutes or 30 minutes? Like those little changes, guys, I think would be interesting to see how it goes. What do we got here? What do we got here?
New runner here. Ran my first half marathon 2 weeks ago. 2 hours, 27 minutes. The next one is this Sunday.
All right. Good job, man.
Very cool. So, one of my first questions is like, first, congratulations. Half a marathon is a great distance. And if you're getting into it, what I would actually advise, like, what I think is if you're a new runner, don't be too quick to go from the half marathon to the marathon. Have this be your half marathon year. I don't know how long you say a new runner. I don't know how long that is. We have this this long blog post on the ultimate guide to marathon training, and one of the questions that we get asked all the time is like, well, how long before I can do my first marathon? And my very rough metric, because it very much depends on what your athletic history is. And if you were like a professional, soccer player, you might be able to jump in, very soon after you start running.
You know what's interesting? Professional soccer players on average run like 3 to 5 miles a game.
Yeah. And
anyway.
But if you don't have a lot of like, athletic background, or the athletic background doesn't translate to running that easily, like for example, swimmers have a huge cardiovascular system, but they don't have the kind of the bone density. They don't have the shock absorption. Their body's not used to that amount of shock.
They need to get their tendons and ligaments just prepared to handle that pounding.
So you get a lot of people who have an engine, but they don't have the structure to actually and the physiology to actually put the mileage in. But The answer, like, I like to look at it as, hey, have you been running consistently for a year, and have you staved off most problems for that amount of time? And if you have, now you can start to think about getting it, because it's not just the race, it's the mileage going up to the race. And you never want to, like, you know, there's so many cases of people who they jump in a marathon and they finish it, but that is the end of their running career for years.
Yeah, it happens, you know, like, I think that, you know, what's interesting is that when we choose these races, we've adopted this somewhat arbitrary goal for us, which is not bad, right? Arbitrary is not to say bad. It's just like, it's this random thing. Like, there's nothing in our lives that no one's putting a gun to our head to do these things. Like,
and there's nothing about the human physiology that says that 26.2 miles is the test of anything.
Yeah, right? It's something we've all decided is kind of cool and we want to do, which as coaches and people have done them, like, we fully subscribe to. But it is interesting, as soon as we put this arbitrary thing on our calendar, we all of a sudden have this program we have to follow that really has little regard to where our actual body is right now. And how fast we can develop and progress along. So remember, guys, even for the programs that we do, right, through the training club, which you should all be members, by the way, we are putting out our best guess for most people, right? What works. That's not to say that it's the 100% thing for you, which is why we also like to give you a program and then strategically tell you not to follow it, right? Because we need you to figure out how to make the best decisions for yourself, and that's the name of the game. But I like the idea sometimes of running without necessarily a race yet to get in that regular rhythm. But I also know for some of us, the race and that little bit of fear is the motivation.
And you can pick shorter races. Pick a half marathon, pick a 5K. You know, there are a lot of people who, you know, actually Mario's, I read, is doing this, right? Where when they're training for a marathon, you know, in the early part of the year, season, they focus on a 5K. And even the early part of their career, they focus on, like, shorter races that really prepare yourself. And, like, people think about a 5K and they're just completing it. They're like, oh, it's just a 5K. But running a 5K really well, you know, improving on your time is very, very, very difficult. It is a tough distance.
You know, it's one of the videos we shot with Dathan last Saturday. We were talking about how to improve your 5K. And one of the things he actually said was, take a long view. Even though we could all run the 5K tomorrow, like, we might need to race a few times. We might need to build up his mileage. He was running 100+ mile a week when his event was 3.1 miles. How long was your event in college?
It was 3K.
3K, less, right? Less than 2 miles. And you were still running how much per week?
On average, I'd say we do like the 70, 80, but we get up.
Every once in a while you go up there, right? So 70, 80 miles a week, all to prepare for this short event. So sometimes we focus a lot on the longer distances and we give the shorter ones a little short shrift. Or we just sort of do that as a checkbox to progress further. There's a lot of juice that we can squeeze from those shorter races that you can get better with. Doesn't that sound good?
And then when you go to the longer races, I mean, it translates.
It translates well. And you know what's great about a 5K? You can get brunch after, and you feel good. And you can race again. So if you guys like to race, you can race multiple weekends. Which kind of segues into Rich's question here. He says, guys, I have a challenge coming up where he's doing basically 3 races over a weekend. He's running a 5K and a 10K on Saturday, and then he's doing a half marathon on Sunday. Advice, I'm doing the average of 15 to 18K on Sundays, 3 days a week, 5 to 10K on weekdays. So when you run with this level of proximity, I think what we want to do here is we want to get through this weekend and we want to enjoy it. So the density of this mileage is something that you don't necessarily do a lot of. And what could happen is if you hit the 5K really, really hard, you could probably have a pretty good 5K, but you're going to see a remarked decrease in your 10K and half marathon performance.
You've done Ragnar before, right?
This is like a Ragnar. Exactly. And maybe this is like what you're basically talking about.
One of the things that surprised me about Ragnar when I did it, because I had done lots of marathons at the time, and is that I was expecting that because I had like 6 hours in between each of the runs, 4 or 6 hours, but anyway, I can't remember what it was. I thought, hey, I'm gonna have plenty of time to rest and recover. But the truth was, when I mean, cardiovascularly, sure, but muscular-wise, I would start every run and it felt like I had just finished the last one. Because my body, like, you don't have time to go through a full, like, recycle.
You can't. And
of your musculature.
You really can, and I feel like that's where that greater base and foundation can help you out. Right. When you are, when you have that greater work underneath your belt, you have greater work capacities. You can handle that. If the mileage is lower, you're going to be more sensitive. So my goal from an intensity standpoint would be to, keep it in your pants for the first 5 and 10K, and then see how it is in the half marathon, and it's gonna sneak up on you, right? Like the 5K might feel super easy, but then the 10K you're like, ooh, I feel that a little bit, and then by the next day you're like, oh my goodness.
And if they are looking at times, I don't know if this is a cumulative race in terms of you adding your time, but you can lose a hell of a lot more time on the longer races, on that half marathon, than you can on the 5K. So you're incentivized to like go 80-90% on the 5K instead of 110. And then see if you can have a consistent, the goal should be, can you have consistent splits for the
5K all the way to the half? Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, I don't actually think for that. I mean, you're not gonna,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Is your half marathon consistent? I don't care what the pace is, but is it consistent? Because if it's consistent, you made a really solid effort. But if you find that your pace drops off like that after mile 7 of the 13 miles, you might have gone a little bit too hard, and you got to keep that in mind on that first day.
Yeah. Just a quick jump over to the Facebook side. Carol says, at 61 years of age, I haven't had good nights of sleep since I was 50. Things change as we get older, and sleep isn't always going to be the same. I think sometimes when we're young, we can just flop down and it's not a problem. As we get older, we need to be more purposeful about our sleep setup.
Right.
So there's certain things that I think are helpful. Getting off of the electronics is in kind of that blue light from the screens, like 1 to 2 hours before bed, making sure that you are sleeping in a totally dark place. So curtains drawn, the room being slightly cooler can be helpful. Sometimes taking a hot shower before you go to bed, that drop in body temperature helps you. There's a bunch of different things that you can do about sleeping better, and you may, just like as we get older, we need to be more thoughtful about all that stuff.
Totally.
All that stuff. Just like you're eating your smoothies and everything else. Let's see here. What else are you guys
caffeine intake, you mentioned
talking about? I know. Guys, I've been cutting back on my coffee. Thursday is a very exciting day, guys, because Thursday is coffee day in the morning, and then it is booze in the evening. I get to, jump on in there.
Full liquefied his diet.
Fully liquefied. We try to cut it off Monday through Wednesday.
I'd be interested to hear, like, what is your all's relationship with like drinking coffee and alcohol, for that matter?
Yeah.
Is that something that you guys take in every day? Is it something that you do at, like, special occasions?
No judgments. No judgments here,
totally.
right? This is the circle of trust.
Yeah. Just put it publicly on the internet. That's okay. I mean, we do it.
Yeah, I mean, we're just kind of sharing.
Yeah, I mean, I actually I decided to start, I've been looking at my diet, and you guys know I always tinker with my diet. I'm always trying different things, and what I found is that, like, my diet is always going up and down like this in terms of, like, I'll go through periods where I'm not eating a lot of sugar, and then I love sweet stuff. So, and the one thing that consistently gets me is
like the cookies. I have had some delicious cookies thanks to this guy, especially lately.
And I'm actually dating somebody who's a baker.
Oh man.
So there's that. But yeah, actually, I decided that, like,
what is the most delicious thing that she makes?
I haven't tried all the things.
What's the most delicious thing? Okay, that's fair. The cookies, the kitchen sink cookies, were off the hook.
Yeah.
Like, my eyes like dilated like this large, and I was just like, I can't handle this deliciousness.
It was really good.
It was so good.
Professionally made, So,
I know, right?
But I mean, I find that when I'm tracking what I eat, it gives me a constant focus on it. The other thing that I found, which is really good, is when I do the 36-hour fast. Yeah. That focuses me for the week, because I'm like, for that time period, I have to think about the fact that I'm not eating, and then it kind of keeps that in my mind. But yeah, so I'm gonna track and kind of see where I am as far as, like, caloric intake, and I usually don't focus on that type of stuff, but I just want to kind of get a gamut as I'm kind of changing my training.
So we have a few people chiming in here. Hashem says alcohol is the worst. Edward says, I'll still bring you fresh roast, Nate. Edward, please do, because your freshly roasted coffee is delicious. Jeff Wiley says, coffee only once or twice a week, a glass of wine almost every night before bed.
There you go.
Interesting, right on. Again, no judgments, guys. This
For the
is,
heart benefits,
this is
obviously.
the trust tree.
I drink coffee and alcohol every day.
This is Lee. I drink coffee and alcohol every day, both of them, even the night before race, 2 glasses of Cabernet. I'm not so elite, why suffer? You know, Lee, I totally did that too. When I was racing and competing my best, I kept my normal routine, which was sometimes a glass of wine, and that never negatively impacted my races.
I was the opposite. When I would train for a marathon, I wouldn't drink for the entire 5 months.
That's incredible. It just, for me,
I don't know why.
It tweets me out. I didn't enjoy it.
I don't think that, him without alcohol is really bad. We
It's
try to give him
really
a little
bad.
bit of nip here and there just to simmer it down.
Just softens the edges. My coach for a while tried to get me off the sauce, and I was just like, I tried it for a little while, and I was like tweaky. I was itching all the time and sweating.
This is not painting a very good picture.
No, I'm kidding.
I've actually never felt that alcohol was something that I've been drawn to other than socially. So we were actually talking about this morning, what's our normal habits, where do we like to be, and then there's kind of optimizing for performance, optimizing for
what feels good.
But yeah,
I also think what you think it matters.
Oh yeah.
If you believe in what you're doing, that belief thing, guys, is huge. Jamila says, I run on coffee and bourbon. Me too.
What kind of bourbon?
Oh, what kind? We need to know. Super fun.
I love bourbon. I go to the distill. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, so when I go home, I like to go to the distilleries.
I love it. Joy says, hey, I drink tea every morning, no alcohol. I've never liked the way it makes me feel. Understand.
Yeah.
I totally understand that. Reptile Man 2929, which gets the win for best YouTube name thus far.
Hey, look, he uses CBDs.
Tea only every morning, alcohol once in a while. I use CBD oil nightly, also on ketogenic diet.
So
what is CBD?
So CBDs are those the non is psychotropic the word? It is the non get you high parts of it's a very unscientific cannabinoids. That's what it's called. It's from the cannabis plant, but it doesn't actually get you high. Here in California, you can get high because it's legal, but you can get both of them at the stores. And I was actually talking to Stephanie about this. I have not seen
high
this.
on my caffeine right now.
Yeah, I've not seen this, but I actually apparently there's some benefits in recovery to CBD oil.
Interesting.
They're seeing really good stuff.
Well, you guys got to share that. This is so fascinating to me. Carrie says, no caffeine, not even soda. I like to get my energy from other sources. If you say sunshine and laughter and good feelings, well,
love and fresh air, as my mom says.
Exactly. Love and fresh air. Isela says, coffee in the morning and right before bed, 1 black tea in the afternoon, beer once a week. Well, that's pretty
Carrie,
good.
actually, you say that, you say no caffeine, no soda, and I was like, wow, and then I realized, actually, that's me too. I'm not a fan of very hot liquids, so I never drink coffee. And we didn't grow up drinking soda, so I have a little soda stream machine, which I will fizz my water, add some lemon to it, but
totally.
I call it special water.
Yeah, it is the special water. How come I haven't had any special water?
It's usually a night thing.
So you haven't pulled out the special water in the day. What does that say about our relationship, Craig?
Yeah, it means you can keep having your coffee and I won't do anything.
We can keep doing there. Well, guys, we are getting towards the end, but we're not over yet. We're not going away for the next 10, 12, 13 minutes. But just a nice little break here to remind you about our really cool giveaway. If you're new to this show, we like to give you guys cool stuff each and every week. And sometimes it is partners we're working with. We've given away different nutrition things. We've given away running shoes before. And this week
we're going to be giving away some, we'll talk about it later, but we have some running shoes coming up that
we do, which we're very excited about. And we're developing all these relationships with all these cool brands, and you guys get to win, right? Because you guys get to all of a sudden get this stuff. This week, we're giving away some of our favorite things, a pair of yoga tune-up balls, and these Shoe Q insoles. Very interesting for giving you more awareness of how your feet lay on the ground and just moving better as an athlete. The link is in the description, so hit that sucker and you'll be able to get in. And at the end of this hour, we're going to be doing the giveaway that we started last week, which is
I wasn't here for it,
some exclusive TRE gear.
Oh, nice.
That's right. You're going to get the lacrosse ball, and you're going to get a TRE t-shirt, Some other good stuff.
And if you're really sneaky and want to go back and enter that contest, if you go to YouTube and you find last week's episode, the Gleam link is still active for another 7 minutes.
It really is. You can get in there too, and then all of a sudden you are hitting both giveaways like a pro. Whew. I love it. So Craig asked, and he asked this question before, so I got to address it.
That's Craig, the other Craig.
The other Craig, Craigie Barn. Are ever coming to South Africa for the Comrades Marathon? Craig, are we going to go to South Africa?
We had plans. We were going to be there like last week.
I know.
Or something like that. It was before the Boston Marathon.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, about a month ago.
We actually made plans to go, and then we had some kind of conflicting travel, and then we kind of let it fall off.
Yeah.
But treat yourself.
Treat yourself.
What, you know what I want to do is let's make that freaking Hawaii trip happen.
I know.
Let's go to Hawaii and camp on the beach.
That'd be pretty rad. Yeah. We have been dreaming since we started the running experience that when we get to a certain place, we'll like reward ourselves with like a cool trip to Hawaii. And we said that 4 years ago, and we haven't gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That was in the beginning.
So, well, it might be my fault. We keep hiring more people and getting busier with new projects, and we're kind of like, okay,
we keep expanding to do more stuff to you guys, so you know, we haven't done our Hawaii trip for you, right? That's the thing.
Yeah. But it would be, we would love to do that. And so this is the question was about South Africa. I have my best friend down there, so I definitely want to go. It's a matter of timing.
It is a matter of timing, and
we've been traveling. Like now, we travel so much for work. It's kind of like
it is. It's totally true. And I'm just kidding. You guys aren't holding us from doing Hawaii. We love building this thing. We love interacting, working with you. But it has been one of those things. As we keep feeding this thing, we've always been put ourselves last in line, as it should be, because we need to take care of you. We need to take care of our team.
You know, I feel like we haven't actually given like the title of this is "Are you running too much?" How much running is too much? And
should we circle back?
I want to circle back to that, just the topic of like, okay, what is your answer to that question? And I'll try to concoct something.
I really love that.
Yeah.
So what I have felt like in the past was I could run 3 to 4 days, and I could only squeeze so many miles out of those days before it felt like I was running on my limit. And last fall, when I was getting ready for the North Face 50K, I was touching 40 to 50 miles a week with lots of elevation, but I was only running 4 days. So that felt to me like my current limit. And the running too much is a very subjective motion, but I knew when I was there, when I was like, have you seen the little game, the whack-a-mole game?
Yep.
Where I was playing mobility whack-a-mole. And it was like something would like come up like my Achilles, and I would knock it down, and then it'd be my knee and I'd knock it down. And then when I couldn't keep up with whack-a-mole, I knew that from a mileage standpoint, I was in an unsustainable space that I needed to back off.
Yeah.
My goal this year is to slowly bring this thing up a little bit more slowly and just see if I could do it over 6 days a week, where I don't have to play mobility whack-a-mole as much, and see if I can, expand my own running capacity.
Yep.
That's my answer.
I was on the phone with my dad about 2 weeks ago, and they're actually coming to visit next week. You might see them on the live show. And my dad has started swimming, and he is not like an innate swimmer, but he knows how to swim, and he keeps increasing his every day. He goes to the pool and he's like, hey, I did 40 laps today, I did 43 laps today, I did 47 laps today. And I think when I talked to him on the phone, I was like, look, he is retired. Is like, this is like, what is your goal here? You want to get more fit? Great. Like, I'm totally supportive of that. And what I told him was like, well, what is going to tell you to stop? Like, what is the thing that is going to tell him to stop swimming that much? And I said, like, historically, the only thing that has told him to stop going has been time, but more likely it has been injury. So, and I think with runners, we get to this a lot, which is we run to the point of injury, to the point of exhaustion, and we hammer it every day. And I think the question to ask, and the question I ask myself is like, what is the signal that I'm looking for that I'm at my capacity? If it's injury,
here's the thing though, and this is the issue, and you guys have to be super honest with yourselves, right? We're approaching this from a rational perspective.
Yep.
Like big picture, like I'm looking down upon you and I can see these things that might not be rational, right? Like running a marathon, training for an ultra, being an elite runner is not a rational act.
It's inherently risky. Yeah.
It's inherently risky, and there are deeper motivations that we have that's driving this.
Right.
And what's interesting from the psychological standpoint, again, Craig and I are not therapists.
Yeah.
We just like to play them every once in a while, or we sort of have to. But we have to tap into what those deeper motivations are, because if I see an athlete who's got multiple stress fractures, is constantly sick, and yet when you suggest running, they know rationally in their heads they should do less, but they can't do it.
Right.
We got to go deeper. Like, what's happening? Why can't we take a day off? Why can't we do these other things? It usually taps into some sort of fear or concern or some deeper drive.
Right.
And for those who are constantly like pinballing on and off the injury wagon, like that is where I've realized as a coach, it's like I can't, like, the calf, rolling out your calf, guys, that's the easy shit. Like, that's so easy. Like, it's mechanical solution, do this will work. But this bigger picture stuff, it's a little bit more intangible. It's harder to get at.
Yeah, and knowing, I mean, this is very like amorphous advice, but knowing your body enough, it's not even knowing your body, it's paying attention to it. Your body's always telling you things. I think sometimes we see the goal line where we have a race coming up. We've seen so many people say, hey, I have a race coming up, and you put blinders on, you're like, I have to make it to the race. And nothing's saying that you won't make it to the race, but if you are not actually paying attention to the signals that come up, and then actually knowing like, hey, there is a signal that I'm looking for. It's a certain amount of soreness. It's a certain amount of like, you know, feeling like when I get up in the morning where my like heart rate is elevated. I take my heart rate every single day, and it's like my heart rate's elevated. Okay, something's different here.
Different ways to track your readiness to train and your recovery levels.
And like if you don't have any signals other than injury, then it's inevitable that you get injured.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
And so you know, but I think what you're saying is totally right. There are a lot of different motivations.
I think like there's the super deep stuff, and then there's also like the kind of the FOMO, training FOMO that we all experience. And you know, especially if you're on the social medias and you know Strava, and you start tracking how other people run, you might get the feeling of like, man, my own training is inadequate. It's sort of like you go into an exam in school, and like 5 minutes before the test, you ask how other people prepared, and you're like, oh man, I didn't study that way. Like, I am in trouble.
Right.
Versus trusting the own preparation that you did for yourself. And when to kind of put a cap on this, I think from my end anyway, how much running is too much? When I start making fear-based training decisions, when I make training decisions based on like, oh, I read somewhere that I should be running 100 miles a week, then I'm going to run 100 miles a week, regardless of, no, I've earned my ability to run 100 miles a week through patient practice and consistent practice over time, and my body feels good here. Those are different ways of running the same mileage.
Couldn't agree more. So I just put a link in there. This is a page that Nate has been working on for a while. It's about like our story and how we got to do the run experience in the first place. And I thought this is as public as it's been. We haven't actually sent it out to anybody yet.
This yet.
I think it's all live.
It's all live now.
Right? Yeah. So
well, guys, we'd love you to see it. Like, we're super proud of this. Like, the genesis of this page was I like took some time one afternoon, and I really tried to like think about like, what is the run experience? What are we trying to do? Like, where did we come from? And I really tell that story on this page. And we worked with some great people on it, and would love to share it with you. Hopefully it resonates with you in some way.
Yeah. So check it out. Let us know what you think. And guys, it is about that time. If you have not entered last week's Gleam link for this the drawing,
get in there. Why not?
I don't even know what time it is. You got like 30 seconds.
You got 30 seconds. You gotta be fast.
Go for it.
You gotta be fast. And of course, enter this week's giveaway as well for that cool shoe cue and the yoga tune-up ball. It's super fun. Each week, you guys get stuff. How cool is that?
Yeah. And we just do that because we like to give stuff away.
Yeah. Do you feel like we did a good job answering the question? How much running?
I think so. I wanted to just like have a segment of like just your answer and just my answer, and be like, hey, how, like, when you think about that question, when I think about the question, what is our answer? And then, you know, a lot of it is like, well, how would we coach other people too? But this is how I think about it for myself.
Yeah, I love that. And guys, like, that's really what we're sharing is our experience and opinions on things. And I think a goal of this show is for all of us to have that good conversation, and for all of us to be more thoughtful about what we're doing and why. Why we're doing it. And who's to say what the right answer is? But I think just by asking those questions, we get there.
Totally.
You can tell I liked philosophy in college because I do.
Did you like philosophy in college?
I loved it, man.
Oh, nice.
I drank that up. That was my favorite.
Okay, so we're not doing Euro Tuneup ball today. We're doing the TRE shirt and lacrosse ball giveaway.
Yes.
There are a lot of people that entered that.
There are a lot of people that want the TRE gear, which is awesome.
It just ended, and who are the winners?
Who are the lucky winners?
There are 2 prizes left.
2 of you are gonna win. Let's see what happens.
Why did it have so many screens? Why don't you just tell me who the winners are?
I know. Da 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 da. Drum roll.
Oh, we got it.
Oh.
We have Adam Steves from Boston, Massachusetts. Congratulations, Adam.
You are a winner.
And Jeff Patterson from Oregon City, Oregon. Nice.
Do you say Oregon or Oregon?
Oregon.
It tells me where you're from. If you're from the East Coast, you will say Oregon.
And you'd be wrong.
And you would be wrong. Sorry, East Coasters. I'm a former one. And that's what you would say.
Yeah.
But if you say Oregon, you're like, oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like when people...
The Oregon Trail?
It's like
the Oregon Trail?
The Oregon Trail. And when like people pronounce like my town where I live in Marin, they say San Rafael.
There's no E at the end. If it was an Oregon with an E at the end, it'd be Oregon.
Oregoni. Anyway, we're going totally off. Congratulations, Adam and Jeff. You guys are the winners for the TRE t-shirt and lacrosse ball and who knows whatever else we'll throw in there. We will email you, and if I'm going to email you right after this.
Oh, look, Adam said thanks. Great, Adam.
Amazing. And if you respond to that with your shipping address this afternoon, I will get that in the mail to you today. How about that?
Sounds good.
Totally. Well, Craig, always a pleasure. Guys, always a pleasure for having you on here. Thanks again.
It better be a pleasure because you have no choice. At this point, you're stuck.
We're stuck here.
It's a business marriage. You can't do anything. You can't do anything about it at this point.
I can't back out. I can't back out.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We always enjoy this part of the week, and even with my stuffed up nose, I was looking forward to talking to you guys. This is like the crux of our week in terms of like getting to interact with you guys. So we love to see more of you sign on, and for you guys that I'm seeing Carrie's name there, I'm seeing Tuneu's name, David Friswell, a lot of you guys who have been here for a while, and it's not every week. We notice you, and we really appreciate it, and we love the fact that you keep coming back, and we love spending time with you. So thank you so much for that, and we will see you next week.
Couldn't have said it better.
All right, let me see. And for those of you that I did not message, I'm sorry, but we will mention you next time.
Now we're gonna do the end of
Stay here for the outro. Is the outro here? Wait, hold on.
Stay here for the outro. Did we not load it up yet?
Hold on. I got it.
Hold on here.
The outro's got it. Okay, let's just see if it works. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.